Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Prime Minister for an advance copy of this statement and to share her condolences to the friends and family of Dawn Sturgis. We're over 2 years on from the referendum. 2 years of soundbites, indecision and cabinet infighting. Culminating in a series of wasted opportunities, with more and more people losing faith that this government is capable of delivering a good Brexit deal, and that is just within her own cabinet. 2 years on from the referendum, 16 months on from Article 50 being triggered, it's only this weekend that the cabinet managed to agree a negotiating position among itself. And that illusion lasted 48 hours. There are now only a few months left until these negotiations are supposed to conclude. We have a crisis in government, 2 Secretaries of State have resigned, and still we are no clearer on what future relationship with our nearest neighbours and biggest partners will look like. Workers and businesses deserve better than this. It is clear, Mr. Speaker, this government is not capable of securing a deal to protect the economy, jobs and living standards. It is clear this government cannot secure a good deal for Britain. On Friday, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister was so proud of her Brexit deal, she wrote to her MPs to declare collective cabinet responsibility is now fully restored. While the Environment Secretary added his own words and said, one of the things about this compromise is that it unites the cabinet. The Chequers compromise took 2 years to reach and just 2 days to unravel. Mr. Speaker, how can anyone have faith in the Prime Minister getting a good deal with 27 European Union governments when she can't even broker a deal within her own cabinet? To be fair, and I want to be fair to the former Brexit Secretary and the former Foreign Secretary, I think they would have resigned on the spot on Friday. But they were faced with a very long walk, no phone, and due to government cuts, no bus service either. So, I think they were probably wise to hang on for a couple of days so they can get a lift home in a government car. I also, Mr. Speaker, want to congratulate the honourable member for Esher and Walton on his appointment as the Secretary of State. He now becomes our chief negotiator on an issue that could not be more important or more urgent. But this new Secretary of State is on record as wanting to tear up people's rights. He said, and I quote, "I don't support the Human Rights Act. Leaving the European Union would present enormous opportunities to ease the regulatory burden on employers." And he is the one negotiating, apparently on behalf of this government in Europe. Mr. Speaker, this mess is all of the Prime Minister's own making. For too long, she spent more time negotiating the divisions in her party than she is putting any focus on the needs of our economy. The Prime Minister postured with red line after red line, and now, as reality bites, she's backsliding on every one of them. We were also given commitments that this government would achieve the exact same benefits and free and frictionless trade with the EU. Now those red lines are fading, and the team the Prime Minister appointed to secure this deal for our country have jumped the sinking ship. Far from strong and stable, there are ministers overboard and the ship is listing, all at the worst possible time. Mr. Speaker, if we look at the Prime Minister's proposals for the long-delayed White Paper, this is not a comprehensive plan for jobs in Britain and the economy the people of this country deserve. These proposals stop well short of a comprehensive customs union, something trade unions and manufacturers have been demanding. Instead, they float a complex plan that has already been derided by her own cabinet members as bureaucratic and unwieldy. The agreement contains no plan to protect our service industry, no plan to prevent a hard border in Northern Ireland, and also put forward the idea of regulatory flexibility, which we all know, Mr. Speaker, regulatory flexibility is a code for deregulation of our economy. The government's proposals will lead to British workplace rights, consumer rights, food safety standards and environmental protections falling behind EU standards over time. And none of this has even been tested in negotiations. The Chequers Agreement now stands as a shattered truce, a sticking plaster over the cavernous cracks in this government. The future of jobs and investment are now at stake. Those jobs and that investment, are not a subplot in the Tory party's civil war. And at such a crucial time for our country, in these vital negotiations, we need a government that is capable of governing and negotiating for Britain. For the good of this country and its people, the government needs to get its act together and do it quickly. And if it can't, make way for those who can.